Before you read, listen, or watch this episode of the Wild Dream Movement podcast, I want to invite you to grab your journal and take a moment to sit with the image you see. A blonde, long-haired, fair woman with long sleeve, deep purple pattern dress, resting their right hand on what looks like a black wolf or a wolf dog. This scene is set on another planet with hues of lavender, rose, and baby blue, rocks and sand, and an ombre white to gray galaxy starry night sky. Now open your eyes and look at the image of this card. Did the image in your head match the image on the card? Pause this episode and take a moment to make a few notes of what you saw in your mind's eye and your eye's eye. What did you notice? What did you feel? What do both images, the one in your mind's eye and your eye, what did those images invoke in you? Did you sense a message? If so, write it down, right? Everything that you notice, sense, or feel down. Take a few moments to do that right now. When you're done, continue reading and or hit play on this podcast again. The Queen of Wands presents herself to you. She is regal, steady, stoic, and yet soft. There's an ease to her, even as she sits upright in her throne. The air around her is still and clear. She carries her blooming wand in her right hand, like a scepter, ready to rule with passion, heart, receptivity, energy, and love. The manifestation of what she has chosen to harvest, the full bloom sunflower in the hand of intuition and magic, her left. She is inspired and inspiring to every onlooker. Even in moments of rule, rest, and stillness, she is ablaze with ideas, visions, and creativity. A whole galaxy churns inside her. Lions roar at her presence. One, the seer of all things external. The other, eyes closed, seeing the vast world of passion burning inside her. A black cat sits at the edge of her throne, protecting the ideas this queen and you have, and welcoming those ready to heed her message and act on her call. You move. Her head turns slightly to where you are on her left. Her eyes ask you a stream of questions. Are you brave enough to write, to create, to become what your telltale heart longs for you to do, to live your wild dreams fiercely and passionately? Will you wild your dreams, your desires, your life? Will you passion your days, your hearts? Will you, dear wild dreamer, write your own story? Light up your life with your dreams. Grab your journal and pen and answer. This is your time to shine. Go, she says. Write wildly, passionately, and fully. Write until you are drunk on your own words and story. Go. Hola, and welcome back to the Wild Dream Movement podcast. I hope you picked up your pen and scribbled on the page your thoughts, your ideas, took any notes of messages that you received, how you were feeling, both from the previous story and the one that opened this whole episode. The Queen of Wands loves to be in conversation with wild dreamers and our dreams and what we're manifesting. If you didn't get to journaling, stop reading or listening or watching and do it. The Wild Dream Movement podcast is not a passive one. It's devoted to embodiment, praxis, and, as the title says, movement. Both the physical and the social leading a movement kind. If we haven't met before, I am Brandy Marsky. I am an author, I am your guide, I'm your host, I am a Wild Dream mentor and coach. The Queen of Wands story that I just shared with you is an exclusive sneak peek of one of my 2026 creative projects called The Writer's Tarot. It's at the very beginning phases. I hope you found it intriguing and uber helpful. In this week's episode, I am platicaing, which is a soul talk, about our collective Wild Dream Society, community, and Wonderland 2026 guiding tarot card, which, you guessed it, is the Queen of Wands. And how we, as wild dreamers, creatives, writers, actors, artists, photographers, business owners, witches, spiritual folk, how we can work with tarot cards and specifically the Queen of Wands to help foster and manifest our wild dreams. First, we're going to talk a little bit about the deck that I chose to pull our card from. I followed my intuition and pulled from the Star Child Tarot by Danielle Noel, because it was once a dream of mine to own this deck when it first came out in 2014, but I didn't have any extra fund money to purchase them. And this deck was meant to be in my life because it came back around and I found it on my 45th birthday at a half price in Dallas. So it is infused with already manifestation and dreams, which perfectly aligns with our wild dream energy and our wild dream that we are trying to manifest in 2026. Every card in this deck is like its own galaxy, and it's got this very, because she's the author and the artist of this deck, it feels very Queen of Wands itself. This deck feels very Queen of Wands. And so it felt really aligned to pull from this deck. So let's talk a little bit about this queen's qualities. Queens in the tarot deck in general are associated with the water element, receptivity, in the flow, intuition, emotionally, creatively based, very in alignment with all things that are movable, flexible, flowy. Queens aren't traditionally, none of the court cards are traditionally gendered. I am using the word and the gender she because that is how the card's energy came to me, but you can use he, they, us, we, whatever feels comfortable to you, but I will be referring to this in this container, in this reading of the Queen of Wands as a she, because she clearly came forcefully to me in a way that wanted to be shared with you. The Queen of Wands is also a fire queen. So when we put those two elements together, water and fire, we alchemically get steam. So if you think about the qualities and textures and habits of steam, you'll get a deeper understanding of the elemental energy of this particular queen. All the court cards have a major arcana counterpart. Here's where the Queen of Wands legacy gets interesting. Some magical sects associate the fire queen with the emperor, making her zodiac sign Aries. Others associate the Queen of Wands with the tarot card Strength, making her zodiac association Leo. And whichever she is attributed to, the King of Wands is basically the other. So if she's attributed to Leo, he is the Emperor, and vice versa. Which says to me that this is a pretty powerful queen because she has the ability to morph depending upon who is looking at her and reading and channeling and co-creating and manifesting with her. I give you both associations so that as you work with the Queen of Wands throughout 2026, you can decide which major and zodiac sign you feel is best to fit you and your work. And also maybe they will reveal their gender, which is not a she, to you. Stay open and just stay ready. Stay ready. You don't have to get ready. Keep your ears, heart, eyes, your senses, your skin open to receive. It's very much the Queen of Wands work. So I tell all my wild dreamers and magical adepts that it's important to know the roots and origins of a thing. In this case, it is the Queen of Wands before we cast our own spell over it. It's good to know the roots and the origins before we start to make our own meaning. So I want to share with you a few of the traditional meanings of the Queen of Wands. The Rider-Waite-Smith deck, let me grab it for you. The Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which is the majority of modern day tarot decks, are derived from this foundational deck. This is what the Rider-Waite-Smith has to say about the Queen of Wands. And this is what the Queen of Wands looks like in this deck. Throughout the suit, the wands are always in leaf, as it is a suit of life and animation, emotionally and otherwise. The Queen's personality corresponds to that of the King, but is more magnetic. Divinatory meanings: a dark woman or a country woman, friendly, chaste, loving, honorable. If the card beside her signifies a man, she is well disposed toward him. If a woman, she is interested in the querent. Also, love of money. So this is the traditional meaning that the Rider-Waite-Smith creators have associated with the Queen of Wands. The Golden Dawn, which is the magical sect that's associated with the creation of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, as they were members of the Golden Dawn, the magical sect, the Golden Dawn. They call the Queen of Wands the leadership and initiation of cardinal fire. Cardinal signs are the ones that instigate, that start a brand new season. So cardinal fire, the beginning, the birth of a brand new season. And one of my favorite tarot practitioners and writers, Rachel Pollack, has this to say about the Fire Queen in her book, 78 Degrees of Wisdom. So I'm only going to read you, I'm going to skip around. So her entire, it's a little bit longer, but I'm going to skip around just so I can share her descriptions and her interpretation, so that way it can help foster your own. The Queen represents the yin, or receptive qualities of each element. She shows an appreciation of that element rather than the King's social use of it. This does not mean that the Queen indicates weakness or even inaction, but rather the element translated into feeling and understanding. The Queen sits on her throne as if planted there. Her crown is flowering. Her dress is sunshine. Alone of all the queens, she sits with her legs apart, signifying sexual energy. She shows a fire appreciation of life, warm, passionate, very solidly in the world. A black cat guards her throne. In Christian folklore, the devil gave a black cat to a witch to guard her from attack. The meaning here is less melodramatic. Sometimes, if a person loves life, the world appears to respond by protecting that person from harm and send her or him joyous experiences. The black cat shows the response by nature to someone who approaches it with fiery joy. Going back to that cardinal fire, this idea of fiery joy. I love that. She also says, fire appreciation and fiery joy. That's something I feel like all of us to marinate with as we move through 2026 with the Queen of Wands as our guiding card. And so finally, I want to share, it's not necessarily traditional, but because we pulled from the Star Child Tarot in Daniel Noel's deck, I do want to share with you what she has to say about the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands in particular that she dreamt up. Authoritative, spiritual, practical, independent, charismatic. The message: it is important that you acknowledge your limitless potential. You are capable of accomplishing anything you wish if you truly put your mind to the task. Maintaining a positive mindset attracts an abundance of light into your life. This is the first step to manifesting your dreams. This is the first step to manifesting your wild dream. Taking all of these interpretations and relationships and connections to the Queen of Wands, grab your journal and answer the following prompts. And if you need more time, just hit pause on me and then keep going. So you can write more and then keep going. I recommend 3 to 5 minutes for each of these prompts. So the first one: what is your intuitive interpretation of the Queen of Wands? What and how does she feel to you? Prompt 1. Prompt 2. What message does the Queen of Wands have about your wild dreams? And finally, prompt 3. What's one small, fiery, and passionate action you can take based on her message to you? Now that you've had a chance to get to know the Queen of Wands on your own, I want to share a channeled message for us as a collective about the Queen of Wands being our 2026 guiding wild dream card. So what I kept hearing when I pulled this card were the words wild domestication. And this energy of staying wild, even in the moments where we appear to be tamed. So for instance, like sitting on our desk to write, or when we're at work, or with our kids or fur babies, walking them, or at a bougie dinner, like wherever we do these mundane things, this is where it's even more important to keep the wild dream and the wildness inside you. I interpret wild domestication to mean keeping the wild dream inside of us wherever we're at, whatever we're doing, whether we're doing something that is wild dream related or we're doing those tasks that we have to do because we're human species and their dishes pile up, taxes need to be paid, and other things that we have to do as spiritual beings having this human experience. It is keeping that wild dream alive inside you in all of those moments, at all times. Like, what would happen if you did that? What would happen if you carried your wild dream with you everywhere you went? How would you act? How would you react? How would you respond to other people? How would you respond to the world? How would you interact with and see the world? Would you see more possibilities and opportunities? Would you be more generous? Would you be more kind? Take a few moments to jot down some thoughts about what would change internally and externally if you carried your wild dream with you all the time. This idea of wild domestication. And also maybe take a few moments to journal about what those two words individually and together harness in you. The other thing that came through is this idea of manifestation. This is the queen to manifest with. Welcome her, he, they into your magical, your spiritual, your intentional practice and your daily fold. Ask her to help you manifest your wild dreams. Have conversations with her. Create a Queen of Wands mini altar where you lay fresh sunflowers and you burn candles and anything else that you feel called to offer as a gift for helping you manifest and co-manifest this wild dream of yours. Maybe like even a little black cat monito, putting that in there. So the question I have to help implement this, besides making the actual altar, is what would you want to manifest this month, next month, and beyond that to help you get closer to your wild dreams? And then finally, this queen is all about embodiment. It is all about the body and being in the fiery disposition of creativity, of life, of passion. Embody the fuck out of this queen. Eat sunflower seeds. Wear the colors of fire, red, orange, and light blue. Weave sunflowers into your hair. Say yes more than you say no. Believe radically in yourself and your creative power. This is the queen of self-belief and personal agency. Dive into your witchy side. The Queen of Wands is the ultimate bruja. Embody the Queen of Wands in all of those ways, or in the ways that you feel most called. This is about building a relationship with the Queen of Wands that is authentically you. I'm just giving you little ins to help get the creative juices flowing. So what is one simple way you can embody the Queen of Wands every day? Take a moment and jot down some notes. The Queen of Wands is big magic, big dreams, big manifestations. And her power and guidance is ever unfolding, which is why we're going to be spending a lot of time with the Queen of Wands as we move through 2026. And throughout this podcast, throughout the Wild Dream Society, throughout the Wild Dream Wonderland Substack, this is going to be our year-long guide, helping us move through different phases of our wild dreams. And I would love to hear how and if the Queen of Wands has popped up for you. Like, what was going on in your life? What was ending? What was beginning? What were you creating? Share in the comments of the Substack post. What is your relationship to the Queen of Wands, and how is it now shifting and evolving and transforming now that she is your counterpart to manifesting your 2026 wild dreams? There's a lot of magic in this episode of this podcast. I infused it in a lot of different ways. And so I want to invite you to listen or return and watch this whenever you feel like you're losing steam, you're feeling doubt, you feel like it's never going to happen for you, this wild dream is impossible. Return to this queen's energy and power. Again, she is our year-long guide. She is always going to be there for an energetic pick me up. Just remember to return the favor, right? This is a relationship of reciprocity. So grab your sunglasses and get ready to flame and shine on. Friends, this is a beautiful, beautiful fire queen. And we're about to move into the fire horse. There's so much beautiful energy here. And I really am excited to go on this journey with you. It is going to be a trailblazing kind of year. I cannot wait to move mountains and make those wild dreams come true together. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week. I love you in Lakesh.